right, so let's just jump right in. So Paul, tell me the story of Ring Boost. How did you get started? How did it begin?
Okay, this is a well thought out story, what I planned my whole life. I met a guy playing softball. Took him to a tournament, and I said, what do you do? He's like, well, I just sold my company, and I started this phone number company. I'm like, a what? Phone number company. I'm like, what the heck is that? And we sat on the plane. He told me about the company. I'm like, my brain just exploded. And I wrote all these ideas down, and he's like, you got to come join me. I'm like, I'm not leaving my career for you and this. I don't even know what you're talking about. And then we talked the whole softball trip. And then I wound up coming on as an outside consultant. And then 6 months later, joined him full time because I was so intrigued by it. And it just resonated with me, connecting potential clients with business owners in one way. And that I believe matters. And so it's just sort of, the randomness of life.
That's amazing. And I kind of want to jump in here and, for our audience, what exactly does Ring Boost do? Let's kind of give the overall.
All right. So what we do ultimately is provide toll-free and local numbers, vanity numbers, easy dial numbers, tracking numbers to business owners all over the country. We just happen to have a lot of clients who are lawyers to help them get better response from their marketing, be more memorable, stand out. And then over the last 6-7 years, also we added tracking numbers for people who are doing digital or certain mailers who want to track. So it's all about connecting potential clients to a lawyer or a business via voice. And I'm very careful to let people know that doesn't mean I don't think people should connect via the web and text and social media. It is another avenue that was neglected. So my passion, now I tell people my product is phone numbers, but the business is about driving voice interaction, driving immediacy, intimacy. And there's so many reasons, which I'm sure we'll get into it, why I find that to be important. And I think ones you'll understand.
Yeah. And we're going to have some fun. We're going to have a little bit of debate and we're going to talk about things like the vanity numbers, the repeater numbers, but let's, for our audience, and specifically, we're talking to mostly personal injury lawyers. So what would be an example of, say, a vanity number and then maybe a popular repeater number?
All right, so look, a vanity number, whether it be toll-free or local, would be like a number that ends in, hurt now, injured, mass tort, bad talc, car wreck. Those are vanity. They're words. And they could be words or phrases. An easy dial pattern would be, my area code 914-222-2222, 213-500-1010. Easy patterns and digits, and you can combine them. I have a lot of attorneys that'll get a number in their local market that's like 222 hurt. Something that's easy to stand out. We see thousands of bad messages a day. So we need that it sticks in the head. I don't have to go look you up. Makes referrals easier. And quite frankly, the human eye will just go to it. Even if it's put in an ad on a pay-per-click, something with the eye going to an easy number. So the difference is easy dial are digits, vanities are words, and then there's also tracking numbers, which tend just to be digits. What they are is less important, although I have recommendations on those too.
So let's jump right into one of the most frequent uses of the phone number that I see, especially when we're on the road. Let's talk about billboards. Are you more of a proponent of, say, a repeater number? And I'm going to reference local. So we have Brown and Crouppen. They have 618 and 314-222-2222.
Yep.
Or something like St. Louis which would be Page Laws. They have 1-800 car crash.
Right.
Is it both of these work? Do you see one working better than the other? Specifically to personal injury attorneys listening, where would you kind of guide them on that decision?
I think both work and both have their applications. I think some of it ties into how you market. If you super want to be known as the local guy in St. Louis, I am a St. Louis born and bred, this is my market, you might want to look at a 314 because it really says St. Louis. 213 says Los Angeles, things like that. But if you brand as Page Law, the 1-800 Page Law is a great number, right? I recommend having both. A toll-free number doesn't mean national firm. It doesn't mean I'm not local, because I think they can get to know you from your website and how you talk to them on the phone. If you operate in multiple area codes, let's say you operate statewide, Maybe you can't get, 314-636 page on every market. So 100 page law is great. There's also benefits to toll-free numbers where if something happens with a storm in the phone company, I could reroute the calls to another call center. You can't block caller ID. So there's a time and a place for both. The only time that, this is my personal belief, that I tend to recommend digits over words is if you're going after ethnic markets, the Hispanic market, the Asian market, because I don't want trouble with translations and spellings. So if I have lawyers that go after specific markets, I might say, let's get an easy digit pattern. And then when you get into that, there's whole theories behind that. Like in the Asian market, they don't like 4s. It's an unlucky number. They like 8s. So there's all sorts of cool, fun things that we get to play with. But I recommend, both in all. I think some of it ties into how else you market.
I think that's a phenomenal answer. And I didn't even think of the different ethnicities and the use of the phone number there. And that makes sense. That totally makes sense. I can just see myself trying to, optimize an AdWords campaign or something and having the just strict, the repeaters being much more practical in those scenarios. One of the things that's changed is we're not as many people, I would say a mass percentage aren't on the dial up anymore, right? They're not on the dial in the phone number. What I mean, like cranking the lever, right, and picking the letters and in the phone booth. So do you, was there a big shift there where now it's click to call or is it just is it just more about branding the number for memory and less about, ease of use?
I think it's both. I think it's memory. It's also ease of use in the sense that, I would I've heard every objection you come up with. Oh, people have to translate the letters into the digits and then dial it. I'm like, great. They know your number. Better than they're not knowing your number, having to go online to look you up. And if somebody outranks you or has a better ad or a better SEO company. So I'd rather them have to figure, they know how to dial it. Let's figure out how to translate, which most people know how to do. But I also think it's about you'll see guys like Bill Matar, or in a car called Matar, just the 4s. And then he owns what he's using, which is the 4s. Other guys like Elko Ohio use 1-800-ELKO Ohio. So I incorporate into the marketing. I'm not a marketing guy, I'm a phone number guy. But if your marketing is, we fight for you, we fight in St. Louis, we fight, then you might not want a number that's 1-800-HURT now. You might want 888-WE-FIGHT. Or I did a campaign for a lawyer, which his campaign was, do you ever wonder why some lawyers get more for their clients? Do you want to know why they get more? Call 844-GET-MORE. So it tied into the branding. So there's a time and a place where it ties into the branding, another time where it's just memorable. Again, as I said before, what are we seeing here? 3,000 ads a day, maybe more in this, digital world. We're getting bombarded. I just want to give you that little advantage where somebody knows how to reach you. Or let's say somebody says, I need a lawyer. Paul, I was in an accident. I go, oh, you got to call my buddy Chris Dreyer. He's awesome. What's his number? I don't know. It's Chris Dreyer Law. They Google you because they were in a motorcycle accident and they Google Chris Dreyer Law. So I told them to find you and they had to Google you. And right above you or right below you, it says St. Louis's best motorcycle or never lost the case. Is there a chance that somebody might call that guy too or fill out that lead form? So why am I going to drive someone to where your competitors might be? I am a huge proponent of digital marketing and social media marketing. Somebody finds you that way, it's awesome. And you should spend every dollar you can find to do it right. But if they find you offline from a referral, a radio, a billboard, a taxi top, a bus stop, why do you want them to go online to find your number? They might have to anyway, but look, I'll tell you a great argument I use at conferences. I give them 2 scenarios. I'm like, I could tell you 10 reasons why you should have a great number. Or we can make this really quick so you can get back to the conference. Why not? We'll have a really short conversation. Why not? There's only 2 reasons why someone might say why not. One is, I can't afford it. Okay, but I have numbers that are $200-$300. Not every number is 10, 20, 30, 40,000. So we take the I can't afford it off the table. And the other one is, I just don't believe that a memorable number is better than 7 random digits. And if that's the fact, then I just haven't done my job, or maybe I'm just wrong. But what I've said to guys is, look, if I'm wrong, if Paul Faust is wrong, you spend a few hundred or a few $1,000s, you have a cool number, and it doesn't grow your business. Oh, well. But if I'm right, and it increases the response rates by even 3%, 5%, something small, could that change your business? So if I'm right, it could be a lot of money. And if I'm wrong, you have a super cool number anyway, just like you have cool sneakers and everything else.
I 100% agree with all of that. And it's funny, when you're sitting here talking, I'm thinking about when I was in college, some of the jingles I heard on the radio, and I can still, their numbers are just beat into my brain. They had that catchy, catchiness to them. And then driving in St. Louis, I can immediately just call out, Brown and Brown and Brown and Crouppen, because they have these like very memorable phone numbers. And then I see some of the other billboards and I'm like focused in. I remember recording a video and I was just trying to remember the phone number and I couldn't.
It's funny you said that. I was at a radio station talking to their sales reps and I said, look, I want you to, on your way home tonight, I want you to consciously listen to your radio station. Consciously listen, which nobody does. You're driving, you're talking. So when you get home, run inside, write down every phone number you can remember, and we'll talk tomorrow. And they got it. Like sometimes it's a simple thing. Like I like to joke, and you might not like this, but we could banter about it, which is fun. So I wish I could be like the web guys that could baffle you with pigeon and penguin and algorithms and updates and Googles and codes. It can't baffle you with whiz-bang stuff. It's just sort of intuitive. Are you in St. Louis?
Yeah, I'm about 15 minutes away.
All right, so let me ask you, have you ever heard 1-800-Flowers?
Yeah.
You know 1-800-Flowers. All right, so just do me a favor. Off the top of your head, just give me the name of 2 or 3 other florists in St. Louis. Just give me 2 or 3. Not 10, just give me 2 or 3 and their phone numbers.
I can't do it.
So,
edible arrangements, I don't know theirs either.
Right. So when you give a pitch and you're talking about what you do, it's very technical. It's meta tags. It's keyword density. It's algorithm. It's real. I could sit in my, in my booth or talk to guys. And when I say that, like, that's the whole story. Like, yes. And I'll bet you can't tell me the last 1-800-Flower ad you saw. You just know the number. And I'm not saying that's the end all be all. I am not arguing that phone numbers is a key to success. It is a arrow in the quiver. It's one weapon. And too many people look at the phone number as just a utility like the light switch. I've challenged lawyers. I said, look, did you consciously pick your domain? Yep. Your tagline? Yep. Your social media stuff? Yep. Did you pay someone to write a logo, design a logo? Yep. Did you have a couple paint swatches before you picked the color paint in your office? Oh, yeah. But then you let someone at the phone company just grab the next 7 random digits off the pile. To me, that is insane. Then why is your domain not www.xpqf personal engineering? You wanted something that, so it's insane to me that you would do all these things to build your brand and who you are, and then just say, yeah, phone company, just throw me whatever you want. Just pick the next one. And I don't get it.
That makes sense. That should be on everybody's checklist. And it's funny because in a moment I was going to ask you about up and coming attorneys, and I think we already answered a lot of that. But let me shift to a different thing. And I didn't even have this prepped. This has kind of popped in my head, and this is a little bit on the morbid side, and I'm not trying, or the darker side. When an attorney retires or one passes away, and the business, like, is there a market for those numbers that have already been branded? That's what happens to those? They just kind of just go away?
No, it's a great question. First of all, a lot of attorneys will ultimately sell their firm. Maybe they want to retire and they sell it to the partners in the firm or someone else. It's an asset that goes along with the firm. Hey, here's this ridiculous asset that's been used. You get it. In those rare cases where it's a solo practitioner or a small firm and they just go out of business and close, eventually that number will just get dropped back into the spare pool and someone else can get it. But in most cases, there'll be a succession, and they'll pass the number on to the people taking over the firm because the number then has value. Like, what I like to say about phone numbers is I'm a and, not an or. Like, if you do billboard campaigns and they don't work, take down the billboards, you got bupkis. You do a pay-per-click campaign, it doesn't work, you got 0. If you got a great phone number on that billboard and the billboards just don't work because they're a bad location or whatever, the number's still on your brochures. It's still on your website, your TV. So, like, I'm something that goes across all spectrums. And again, and I want to be very clear because everyone always shouts it. I believe in pay-per-click. I believe in social media. I believe in SEO. I spend a fortune on it. But the phone is not a light switch or a carpet or a utility. It can be one of your best weapons. I have sat in front of lawyers and said, all right, I'm going to give you 2 choices and 2 choices only. Someone's in a car accident. They're hurt. They can either call you and get you on the phone right now, or they can go fill out a web form or chat on your site. Which do you want? And every hand will take the phone call. Why? because most guys believe that if they get you on the phone, they will empathize and convince you they're the right attorney, and they will get that signed up because they know they're that good. So if that's true, why are you always driving them to a web form, a chat bot, or whatever, instead of also giving people the opportunity, an easy way to connect with you in voice so you could do what you do best?
100% agree. And ultimately, a website's just an outlet for conversion. So if you get the conversion just through a lower barrier to entry, just the phone call, it's substantially more powerful. And I loved how you were considering the phone number more as an asset. That's what it is. You're building an asset.
It's an asset with an obscenely high rate of return. Let me ask you a question. You build websites?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay. Could I pay you to build a really gorgeous looking website that looks as good as Brown and Krupin's?
Sure.
Right. So I could build that tomorrow. Maybe I won't rank tomorrow because they've got a lot of time, but we could all have the same gorgeous websites. We could all have the same chat bots. We could all have the same intake. We could all go to ICE or one of these other guys and have great intake. Voice is the one democratized. Nobody will be Chris Dreyer. Nobody will be Paul Faust. Nobody will be Don Worley. Nobody will be Greg Reed. So my voice and who I am is unique. So when everyone can build the websites that all look the same and they all say we got millions of dollars in settlements and we went to this law school, you can make that all look the same. What you can't get is me. I am unique. So I want to talk to you. I want to empathize with you, and I want to show you who I am. But I also, we can get into it later in the talk, having the right phone number is just like getting you to the start line. There's a whole nother component behind that I find to be as important, if not more important.
Jumping into the digital side, and I completely agree with all of that. Jumping into the digital side, we're getting a lot more of the Siri, the voice search, the Alexa.
Yep.
And do you see that does that kind of tie in with the voice as a differentiator, the phone number as a differentiator?
Yes and no. Look, I think voice search, I think when you talk about voice search, I think what's really going to matter to people is brand. Brand is going to be more important than ever because look, when you're talking about Google and how good you are at Google and stuff like that, there could be 3 or 4 top guys. You got the map. Voice search, it's one. When I say, hey, Siri, hey, Alexa, give me a personal injury attorney, guess who controls that? Amazon or Microsoft. They control. What do you think that keyword's going to cost? Or what they'll do, they'll be Amazon personal injury. So you better hope if someone's hurt, they don't say, Alexa, I need a personal injury attorney. You better hope they say, Alexa, get me Chris Dreyer law firm. So in that voice search world, I think brand is super important. I might not go so far as say, well, it's better that they go, Alexa, call 222-2222. Yes, I think it's important because it's memorable, but I think brand comes into play really big in the voice world, because that's where a lot of things are moving that way. It's like like Gary Vaynerchuk said, you better hope that they don't say, hey, Alexa, get me a cheeseburger, because Amazon's gonna have a commissary kitchen and they're gonna send you cheeseburgers. You better hope they say, get me a Shake Shack burger. So I think for lawyers, I think brand's gonna become more important than ever before. Kind of that's separate from what I do. That's more from a marketing branding perspective, but I think it's really important in the future.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the Chris Dreyer law firm because that's who I'm competing against. I have Chris Dreyer, the digital agency, and I'm competing against Chris Dreyer, the law firm. When you Google Chris Dreyer, so that just reinforces the importance of having great branding, having that memorable phone number, so that there isn't confusion. Like, oh yeah, contact Chris Dreyer, and what if they click on the law firm and not the digital agency? So
and then they go somewhere else because they go, oh, I thought he was an SEO guy, a website agency. Oh, pay-per-click. Guess he's a lawyer. My mistake. So that's why I think voice is so important. But then again, as I said before, I think once you have the voice component knocked down, there's a lot of stuff behind it that's equally important, if not more important.
Absolutely. So let's get to the actionable. So they're on board. They understand the importance. A new solo practitioner or an existing elite PI attorney, they know the importance of getting an unforgettable phone number.
Okay.
How do you craft that phone number? Is it working with a professional that kind of guides them in that direction? Can they come with a tagline? What's the practicality of getting this set up?
So I just plugging in. I love the personal connection. I love to talk to you find out more about, a lot of attorneys will come to me and say, I want to get a number. I want it to spell Zanussi. I'm like, you don't even know how to spell your own name. So I try and talk to them. I'd like them to reach out to me and say, are you local? Do you cover statewide, national? What's your target market? Do you have a tagline? Go back and forth with them to find out what they like, what works for their business. Now, look, if you tell me you want 1-800 Zanussi, I'll try and find it. But I'm also going to tell you why I don't like it. And people think I have to have hurt or car wreck. No, like there's a very successful firm out of Florida that's Ask Gary, but he owns it. Everything is Ask Gary, so he brands it. Or the Hammer, or things like that. So if you own, so it could be a tagline, what you do. It could be your firm name. Could be. So I like to talk to people, and we go back and forth. Budgets, where you're marketing what's available, and then I try and narrow it down for them. I like to white glove it. Like if people just don't want to talk to me, they want to go to my website, just search on their own, go get it. But I like to talk to people, and I also have access to all their numbers. I can be creative with them, and it's a process to get them something that resonates with them, and off at the end of the day, it has to resonate with them, not me. I'll give them my advice, but it's got to be one like, that's the one I like. Great, then go with it. And it doesn't mean, maybe with SEO, you hire one SEO company or you hire one pay-per-click company. With phone numbers, you can have one, you can have 100. You don't have to, you can get a few and test it. I got one for my billboards. Like there is, if you don't like the one you have, you can get others. If you love the one you have, you can say, you know what, I want to get another one to test another campaign. So we can have lots of them. And a lot of lawyers, once they get one and they see how it works, they're like, I want to get another one. I want to get another one. I'm like, awesome. So again, just that one overlooked tool that I am passionate about. Like my product is phone numbers. What I really believe in is that voice matters. Your voice matters. Who you are matters. It's the greatest differentiator. You can't empathize on a text message or a chat bot. You can't, oh my God, are you okay? Is your family all right? Are you in a safe spot? All right, all right, I'm here to help you. Can't do that in a text message with my tone, my intonation. I'm like, look, Chris, I am here to help you. Look, I just want to are you in a safe place? Okay, tell me what happened. Oh my God, all right. What do you need? Like, you can't get that, that emotion, the immediacy, and let you, like when people are hurt, injured, like most of us don't deal with this ever, maybe once in a lifetime. They want someone who could help, that's going to take the pain away and guide them. And I could do that with my voice and just let them know that they're safe. And then I'm going to do my best to help them. So that's why I'm so, but again, for certain things to get information, your mass tort case, you just want to learn about someone, the website, the content you put up, the images you put up. We all know there's a guy in the business, at Chris Video. He's exactly the same as I am. He makes videos, but it's all about telling who you are as a lawyer, why you got into it. It's your voice. It's not, I got 18 degrees and I get millions of dollars in settlements. It's, I got into this because, and I play softball and I do this. So it's really about who you, and I just believe in it so much. I don't want to be in a world where your bot talks to my bot and then eventually, the world ends. Two people don't ever talk.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And it's everyone has their phone in arm's reach, right? And what's interesting about that is technology is advanced so much where everyone's just communicating digitally in email and they miss out. Like sometimes when you write an email and there's like inflection, you don't know how to interpret it, you emphasize a different word. And I think that across all industries, legal, mine, everything, I'm in complete agreement because I think those soft skills, the EQ, the empathy, I mean, you get that through calling someone on the phone. And
right, which is why I've said, I'm sorry to interrupt, a few times, that driving the call is one piece. It is critical, and I will say this to every lawyer listening. You can get a great number driving a million calls. You better make sure that you have taken the time to train your intake staff, that they know how to handle a call. They know how to express empathy. We could have the best number and it increases your calls 5,000%. If you don't have good people on the phone, you took the time to train how to express empathy, how to get through the process. That is one. It is a skill, and it's not for everybody. It might not be for the lawyers. It's professionals, and that's one. And number two is a case management system or a CRM system, so the information that Paul Faust gets gets to everybody else. I could be the best intake person in the world. I can empathize with Chris Dreyer, make sure I know everything about you and your family. I've got you taken care of. I know what makes you tick. I know what you like. I know where you've been hurt before. But if I don't get that information to the other people in the firm, who cares what I know? The other lawyers or professionals, paralegals, only know what they know. As Harlan, Schillinger, our dear friend, said, you only know what you know. So if you don't have a good training and then customer relation system or a case management, so I can pass that information, everything I learned, to everybody else, you're going to fail. So I might even, guys, I'll ask people, do you have a system in place? It's not just about getting a number, getting some ad agency that can make the phone ring all day, because you'll be wasting opportunity.
I think that's a tremendous piece of advice. I 100% agree. I think it's applicable to any business, and because you have your SDRs, you have your sales individuals, whatever you call them for any business. Your rainmakers, whatever. But if they're not transitioning that data to another individual through the handoff, there's a lost in translation situation.
Have you ever listened to calls to law firms? I've listened to calls. Like when intake people say, say, do you handle that kind of, you guys professional? They're like, oh yeah, we're pretty good at that. Like or hey, I've been hurt in an accident. Like talk to an attorney, and then someone will say, oh my God, okay, can I get your number? Someone will call you back. Like the marketing worked. Chris Dreyer did his job. Paul Faust did his job. Your TV guy did his job. The call came in. This person's hurt. And you're going to say, oh, yeah, let me get someone. They'll call you back. So it wasn't the marketing, the phone number. It was, you didn't think about your intake process, who's answering your calls. So, that's all, it all plays in. I'm just literally like the tool. I could buy you the nicest car. You got to drive it and treat it right. Put the oil in it. So I'm just, again, one tool that's part of, I believe, never going away. I think there's a revision back to voice in this increasingly digital age where you see funny commercials saying, yeah, I don't have voice jail. Hello, press 1, press 3. I hang up. I want to talk to someone. In fact, I won't even do business with a website that there's not a phone number there. So I know that if I have a problem, I can call later to get it fixed. I don't want just some site where I can click and buy, and then God knows if I'm ever going to see it, or if I, so again, I can't emphasize enough. I'm so passionate about it because I know it works.
It's funny. And what you said is when I get on the phone and I start getting those automated messages, I'm just pounding 0, trying to get somebody on the phone. Yes.
I just want to talk to a human.
Yep. Hey, let's shift to personal now. So I got a funny story for you. So I was at the CRISP conference, Michael Mogul's conference, and we met up later, and we were conversating. And, I went home the next day and I'm popping on The Office. And boom, you pop up on The Office, the show The Office. I take a screenshot, I text you. I was just blown away because we just had spoke like literally the day before. So give me the recap. I mean, I got to ask you about it. So how did you end up on an episode of The Office?
I'll give you the 30,000 views. So my wife's family created the show. Greg Daniels, executive producer. Paul Lieberstein, her cousin, is Toby, and he was a writer. I was on LA on business, on phone number business. I had a day to kill, so I said, can I come by the set? So they said, yeah, come by. So I spent the day on the set, and at one point Greg said, you want to meet the writers? So they brought me into the writers' room, and it was just after a California earthquake. So he said, this is my cousin, he's a little crazy, tell him about what you do. So for some reason, I don't know why to this day, I told him about another business I started called 1-800-PREPARE. So I built a brand around a phone number, 1-800-PREPARE, which is preparedness kits. So I talked about it for 3 minutes, and they're like, all right, you got to get out of here, we got to work. So I leave the room. Unbeknownst to me, BJ Novak said, that guy's got to be a character on the show. So he wrote a character called Cool Guy Paul, the owner of a disaster kit company. And fast forward 6 months later, I'm in my office in New York, and I get a call from Paul Lieberstein saying, hey, it's Paul. Hey, look, I don't know if you're interested in this or if you can even do it, but we wrote a character based on you, and we can't find an actor to play the part. Do you want to audition to play the part? And I'm like, all right, where's the hidden camera? This is BS. But he was dead serious. So over the next hour, scripts came in. I had to read them, send them back, blah, blah, blah. Casting, da, 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 da. They're like, all right, you got the part. We shoot at 8 a.m. tomorrow, be in LA. So it just was this, again, the story I tell a lot, it was just me being me. And I was passionate about the 1-800-PREPARE business, and they couldn't find someone to be me, which is what my voice meant. And so they asked me to play myself. So I played myself in this one episode. The point was to have new characters to use, new tenants in the building, but they didn't need us ever again. They thought they did, but they had other arcs to go with. So it was a life experience. But I always tie it back to what I do for a living because it wasn't the business. It was me and my personality and how I portrayed it. And they just didn't, they audition actors all the time because they have to for SAG. They just couldn't find someone that was me, that was my voice. So they asked me to play myself. So super cool story, great life experience. I just don't run around talking about it, but everybody finds it. Everybody finds it and asks me about it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I know I went right to Facebook and I was looking all over your Facebook and I had to ask you about it. You know, I also want to ask you too. So you're a volunteer firefighter and you study Krav Maga. You know, where does the drive come from to constantly be pursuing these new challenges?
Look, I think life is not about building your resume. It's about building your life resume. I'm actually part of a program with a dear friend of mine who's one of my mentors named Jesse Itzler, created a course called Build Your Life Resume, and then now another one called the Big Ass Calendar Club. And it's all about your life resume. We get one go around. Like as Jesse says, you're on a bus. The bus doesn't stop. So for me, it's not about things. It's about experiences. It's about trying things and doing things. So I was passionate about firefighting. I want to do it. So I do it. I like Israeli martial arts. I do it. I love charity stuff. So I give back as much as I can. I am not trying to collect things. I am trying to collect experiences in my life and inspire everyone I touch, try new things, challenge myself, you know, because I think it makes you who you are. And I would caution this to any personal injury attorney, even if you're young starting out, working 47 hours a day, 9 days a week isn't going to make you a better lawyer. People are going to hire you. You have to find the balance of your family, your interests, your life. It will come across in who you are and why people want to do business with you. People love that I'm a firefighter. People love that I do charity work. It's not just that I have good numbers. It's me. So I'm always up to push myself, try new challenges, and continue to build my life resume, not my paper resume. Just, you know, you only get one shot at this. And, you know, I've heard quotes, you know, I've never seen a U-Haul truck following a hearse. You know, I ain't taking it with me. So I want to collect experiences in life and try and inspire as many people as I can. So that's why I live the way I do.
That's wonderful. And I think everyone listening is probably kind of reflecting on, you know, am I just in the daily grind? You know, what am I doing to create these experiences? So I think that's a great piece of advice.
Everybody is. They interviewed a lot of wealthy people and they said, why do you work so hard? And the answer was, so I could have money, so I could have, you know, spend time and do things with my friends and family. And then they say, what is your biggest regret in life? And those same people said, all the time I spent working to make money, I couldn't spend time with my family and friends. So it's a balance. And I think that I am better in my job. I'm a better boss. I'm a better person. I'm a better father. I'm a better friend because I live and I experience and I challenge myself and learn new things. And I think that balance act makes you better all around. So it's just a passion I live by. I even got my first tattoo at 50 years old that says no 0 days. Like, don't have a 0 day. Go do something with every day. And it could be sit in a park and read a book. That's a no 0 day. It could be learn something. It could be inspire somebody. It could be work your butt off. But I just don't want to have 0 days. You don't know when the bus ride's going to end.
You know, it's what's interesting too. So when you go to a party or a get together and, you know, you have that casual, oh, what do you do for a living? You have stories to tell. So people want to, you know, have those same experiences through you. So it's awesome. I applaud you for all that. And definitely, I think that's what it's all about. So Paul, we're going to do, as we come to a close here, we've got a new segment. It's a 3 for 3. It's kind of a quick fire round. So kind of, you know, shoot from the gut. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. So I'm going to jump right in. And the first one's not going to be a surprise. SEO or PPC?
SEO.
Good answer. Which entrepreneur do you admire the most?
Wow. Jesse Itzler, one of my coaches.
Incredible.
Changed my life.
Amazing. What would you tell personal injury attorneys looking to grow their business?
Learn from other attorneys. There's people in this industry who have been there, done that, and there's a lot of people willing to share. Even guys in your own market, you're not all competitors. There's a big market out there. Ask. Be willing to learn from other people's mistakes. Be humble. Learn. And when you go to a conference, you can learn as much from the vendors outside who often know more about how to get cases in market than attorneys do. So just keep learning, be humble, ask for help, and people will guide you. Even your competitors will guide you, because that's the way things are supposed to be. And I encourage everyone to do it.
Paul, that's incredible. So, where can people go to learn more about you and your company?
So we have a website, which is ringboost.com, RINGBOOST, ringboost.com. If you want to go to the site, you can. You can find me on social media, obviously. We have a Facebook page, and you can call me. You can email me at paul@ringboost.com. You can call me at 914-200-0013. 13 is my lucky number, so that's why I made it my office number. And look, you can call me and ask for advice, even if you never plan to get a number from me. Maybe you found the number from somebody else and you just want to know if it's good or if it's a good deal. Use me as a resource. I don't care about one deal. I care about helping people, and business will come around. There's plenty of business out there. So people can reach out to me if you want to call me and ask me what conferences to go to in the space or who are good lawyers to know. Just call me. It doesn't have to be anything about phone numbers. I am passionate about it, and that's why I started ringboost.com, but just reach out and connect. I love connecting with humans, because then we'll find opportunities together.
Paul, thanks so much. That's incredible.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me.